need to just do every show from here.
I mean, there's cigars, there's liquor,
The backdrop's better.
there's TVs like right in front of us.
I'm more
It's
comfortable.
a better angle to watch the TVs than what I'm normally sitting at when I'm here. These couches are comfortable.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Man.
Like, I'm looking around. There's comfortable chairs. There's comfortable couches. We're at Goodfellas, by the way, St Johns Bluff Rd. If you're going anywhere else for cigars or liquor or anything like that, then you just suck as a human being. This is the place you need to be right here. Like, we've got pictures of it on our social media. Like, awesome vibe here. Like, right when you walk in, it's like, oh, I want to stay here. And you know me, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't like to stay anywhere except for my house.
Right. It feels, well, this has kind of become like that.
Well, you're here every night. You have a key.
I have access.
Well, I know you have access.
I just break in the back. They recognize me a little bit.
You remember
they don't
one
shoot
time
me.
we had a sponsor that you ate us out of?
It's not true.
That is true.
They gave us a deal that they didn't know how good the deal was that they gave us. They don't know how much $500 of hamburgers and French fries is.
Nah,
like,
bro,
that's
you
enough
were
to
going
go there
every day
day
and drinking chocolate milk beer.
That's how I became a snob and 360 pounds or
Well,
whatever it was.
I want to make
like,
sure that doesn't happen here. I want to make sure that you're not just coming in here, kicking your feet up, drinking their liquor, smoking their cigars.
I mean,
see, Scott's already laughing.
I do that. Like, I do that.
Scott's looking at me like, yeah, I got to talk to you after the show.
They used to have Japanese whiskey. I don't know if I can pronounce it, if it's cool for radio to pronounce it, but they don't have it anymore. It's not because it's banned, it's simply because
it's gone.
It's gone, and it's no longer available to be purchased. It was delicious, though.
Well, I got big news for you to start off with, though.
All right, what's that?
You're going to be like, this may be the best news that you've gotten in a while. Who's your favorite Twitter follow?
Right now? That's a normal famous.
Oh, just who are your favorite Twitter follow?
Oh, my man Aaron Cabrera from Local Kid is my favorite because he's causing anarchy, but I don't think he's
okay
on anymore.
Okay, OJ Simpson's a completely free man now.
Wait a minute, he's been so he's done with probation,
done with parole.
Man, Let me tell you about how good America is. Like, in OJ. If OJ Simpson started a Discord,
a what?
A Discord, like his own network or a YouTube show or whatever, I'm in. I'm subscribing. That man knows way more football than most of these people that are talking. It's good stuff. It's just that he's OJ Simpson. Like, he may or may not have killed two people. But he served his penance for something. I don't know what it was, but he served it, but he's good.
I refuse to follow OJ Simpson.
Why?
I don't know.
He like, if not giving a fuck was a person, like, that's him. Like, he just walks around free. Like, not caring what anybody has to say about him, living his best life, playing golf.
Where's he living?
I think he's in South Florida, but he's always in Vegas, which is ironically where he.
If you were OJ Simpson's neighbor, would you hang out?
Hell yeah.
You would?
He didn't do nothing to me.
Yet?
Yeah, I mean, what is he, like 80 years old now?
How old is OJ
He can't run like he used to. His arm isn't as efficient.
You and OJ Simpson line up for a 40 right now.
Oh, I'm beating OJ. I refuse. I'll trip him. I refuse to lose to an old ass man with no knees.
He's 74?
Yeah, man, he's good. I'm that's been like 20 years ago. I think his jab or his stab was still pretty good. But
he looks good for a 74-year-old that spent all that time.
Still chasing women?
Is he?
Yeah. I don't think it's possible to be as aggressive as
OJ Simpson or Tiger Woods. Who would you let your daughter date if you had to pick one of the two?
Oh, Tiger.
Tiger?
Yeah. Tiger didn't kill him. He almost got killed for cheating.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Tiger I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Tiger is the victim.
The victim.
He's the victim of domestic violence. He was hit by a knife trying to flee. His car into his box.
I don't know that he's a victim.
I mean, he didn't hit her. She hit him. And then now they're back together. So, like, I guess.
Are they back together? Is that true?
Or I thought they were trying to get back together.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the Sports Den brought to you by ABC.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Fine Wine and Spirits. Make sure you get to an ABC near you. Make sure you get to thehumidor.com. There's ABCs on every corner, so it shouldn't be too hard. I prefer the Town Center one.
Town Center is good if you're looking for the good stuff, they'll put you on their shoulders and make sure that you're able to go up there and reach it. They have approved it. If you're a little person, if you're a little hefty, don't. But if you need help, they'll get you up there to buy what you need to buy.
Dude, my speaking of little person, every other video on TikTok for me is of a little person.
That means you've been watching a lot of little people.
Well, I mean, I send you half of them.
That's true. I mean, I love little people.
I do too.
There's just something about them.
What are you doing? What are we doing here?
Turned it down. It turns itself back up.
Jeez. All right. I guess we got to talk about this crap that is the Jags right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a second. I had this thought. I want you to follow me on this. Tell me if I'm reaching here. I know you don't like Bevel because of what he did to Marshawn Lynch.
Yes.
You blame him for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I blame Russell too.
But he did go to a suit. Do you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You really do?
Yeah, that's part of my reason. Like, it has nothing to do with future.
Is Russell Wilson your football Steph Curry?
No.
You hate Steph Curry.
I hate Steph Curry.
Why do you hate Steph Curry?
One, he's light skinned. Two,
why you got you? So now he can't help that.
I mean, yeah, but that's not my problem that he can't help that. But I hate that he's got really good hair. He's rich, and he can shoot from anywhere. He can shoot a three from his bed, and it goes.
So why do you hate Russell Wilson?
Because he should have handed the ball off to Marshawn. He could have audible. Quarterbacks could change plays all the time.
So you're suggesting if he had handed the ball off, you'd be a Russell Wilson fan? They
would won 2 Super Bowls. I would have been and he was a part of the conspiracy to keep Marshawn Lynch from talking about going to Disney World, because that he scored that touchdown, he would have been the Super Bowl MVP, and they know that he was going to say something completely ignorant, and it was going to be amazing, because at that time he was just saying whatever he wanted to say, and I love it. He was just here so we don't get fined.
All right. Well, so back to where I was going with this. So, but Bevel went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. Schottenheimer has had success at the NFL level. Right.
Yes.
I don't know about Warhop. I don't know him. I know
Warhop went to the AFC Championship.
He was here for that?
I don't know. I thought he was. Maybe he wasn't.
You're probably right. I don't know nothing about the dude in the $10 million house, Sanjay Law. I don't know anything about him.
I don't like him.
I don't either, by the way. There's Steph. But my point with this is, so you've got a coaching staff full of guys who have done this before.
So are you implying that they're not losers?
No, follow me.
Okay.
They're absolute losers. And then you've got 11 guys on offense that were selected to play pro football, right?
Yes, they were selected.
And at some point, by the way, the city of Jacksonville was excited about all 11 of them. Yes. Go one by one down that list. Go Marvin Jones, go James Robinson, even the offensive line. When Andrew Norwell signed here,
the propaganda machine was amazing. Like,
hold on. No,
people were told that these were good players. These were good.
Andrew Norwell was highly sought after.
Yes, he was.
Cam Robinson, if he wouldn't have been drafted here, would have been drafted shortly thereafter. Juwan Taylor, same. Top 2-round guys. AJ Cann, well, forget him. Brandon Linder signed a big deal. James Robinson is one of the top 10 backs when
healthy.
I
like James Robinson.
Okay, Marvin Jones was sought after last year. Laviska Shenault, we were all excited about. Do I need to keep going?
Well, yeah.
So here's my point. Trevor is Trevor. There's got to be something. Now I'm buying into what they're saying about what's happening in between the walls, because the fact that a functional group of coaches and 11 guys who we would all agree, if they didn't play here, would play somewhere in the NFL, all 11 of them on offense. The fact that they don't score or sustain a drive doesn't make any sense at all. You have to dig deeper. Okay. James, you and I and a staff of drunks could put the headsets on and we could call plays and get lucky once and score. We could call enough plays over the course of 5 or 6 games that we could sustain at least 10% of the drives. These jokers aren't doing any of that. They never hit a big play. They don't sustain a drive. They're seeing base defenses, very few blitz packages. They're seeing 1 or 2 different types of coverages. What I'm getting to, we talked about last year how everybody was tanking. What are we doing this year?
Trying to get Urban fired.
So you think as a group, and I'm being serious about this, you think as a group, you think everybody's just F Urban, let's get him fired?
I think now, I think that Urban said what he said to some capacity.
I have no problem with what he said.
Yeah, what he said, we talked about that yesterday. But I think that when you say those things, now people are ready to squad up on you and be able to and to get you out of there.
So whose fault is that? Is that Urban's for saying it, or is that a bunch of people for being soft?
Both. It's Urban's because before he became this, he's a motivational speaker. He was a foremost expert on organizational excellence, and every time he spoke at some kind of conference, when and I posted on TikTok and IG and all those other social media things, got me a lot of clicks and views, where he went on Fox Sports and he was talking about how the 3 dysfunctions of a team. And he's supposed to know that what you can and what you can't say, when to say it, when not to say it, and not to just make it coach speak. He was brought here to take a dysfunctional franchise and make it functional. But what he's done is single-handedly figured out how to make it worse, which was difficult. It's actually impressive when you think about it. Like, they're actually worse than what they have ever been in I've been here since 2007, so my 14 years. This is the worst that Jacksonville has ever looked. It's guys who, like you said, no matter what we believe, somebody decided that these were 53 NFL capable players. Somebody made a choice. I think they were wrong with about 45 of them, but 53 of them, somebody made a choice. And as a man, as a professional, at some point, you're going on that field and you're the one getting your ass whooped. Not Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer gonna make his money, unless he finds it. Unless preferably it'd be a Goodfellas, but unless he finds another nice young lady that he decides to show how to take snaps as a quarterback, he's not gonna get fired for any reason. He's gonna get his money. These guys are trying to fight for their career, and yeah, you're making $500,000 on the low end, and that's dope. But you don't have life-changing generational money yet for a vast majority of those players. I would be out there playing my ass off because I might not want to be in Jacksonville, but I want to be in the league next year.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and
so they're soft.
Anybody can weigh in on this. Give me one guy on the offense of the 11 starters that if he went to free agency right now would not just get picked up, but would be in the plans of another team. Because you're saying that there's not talent there, and I get you. Like, there's not a number one guy, there's not a burner. But give me one of the 11 that if he went to free agency, we would never hear of him again. There isn't one.
There's only one, and it's not because he's just great.
Who?
It's because the position is valued, and there's not very many of them, and he's young, and that's Cam. And that's because he's a
Cam Robinson?
That's because he's a left tackle. People value left tackles. He'll be 26 next year.
Wait. I think you misunderstood the question.
I'm just saying, somebody's going to give him money in free agency.
Everybody, that's my point. All 11 of them would get money in free agency.
Nobody's getting Juwan Taylor.
Yeah, they are.
People are going to beat down the road with Juwan Taylor.
Guarantee you. My point is,
if I go on Twitter right now, we ran a Twitter poll. We said, and Jax can answer this. Juwan Taylor. And most people would think you're talking about Juwan a man. They'll think you're talking about Juwan from around the way. They're gonna think you're talking about Taylor Jacobs. They're gonna think you're talking about everybody but the person that you're talking about.
I disagree. I think if you did a poll of the 32 GMs and Juwan Taylor was available,
I stand corrected because one GM is in Philly and he really believes he drafted those guys and that was a good decision. So Dave might try to get him in Philly.
My point in all this is there's got to be such extreme dysfunction Because even if you're right on Jawan Taylor, you had to think a minute to get to that. There's got to be such an extreme level of dysfunction to not be able to move the ball 10 freaking yards with an offense it's not great talent. It's not upper half of the league talent, but collectively is talent. You should be able to sustain drives with that.
No, without a doubt. Like,
so,
some of the stuff just doesn't make sense. You're right.
Because there's two things that worry me. One is there's dysfunction in the building, which is what I'm going to choose to believe, because two would be your quarterback. And I'm not going to believe that at all, because I'm not going to go back down that road. So if you look at the offenses around the league, the only ones that don't move the ball are the ones that have shitty quarterbacks. Right? That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody that has a decent quarterback will score and they'll move the ball. They'll sustain drives. Let's just assume, for the sake of all of our sanity, that that's not the case here, that Trevor's good. We're good with Trevor long term. Then it's got to be like an extreme level of dysfunction that we haven't seen around the NFL in a long time.
I think multiple things can be true at the same time. Maybe they're not that bad. Maybe better play caller can do stuff. But I like, when I watch, it's just some of the clips are just so bad. Like, when you got two receivers running into each other, one looks like like you said, I think one was trying to run a dig, maybe one was trying to run an out. Almost every Saturday, I get a group of 8-year-olds that don't run into each other when they're running routes. Like, if I can get a bunch of 8-year-olds to run,
you're saying what I'm saying. You're like, that's
to run a slant wheel concept, to run sweeps. Like, then I don't understand how paid professionals like run into each other. Like, that's one thing. But again, it's this really weird thing in football, and it's a saying that, as simplistic as it is, very either, or you're allowing it. So right now, I don't think they're doing much coaching, but they're doing a lot of allowing. And I don't think maybe a better person could come in, but all these, like you said, all these coaches have NFL backgrounds. It's almost as if Urban hired a bunch of guys who you just had to have a little piece of NFL coaching experience, but you couldn't have too much to outshine or overshine him. And they're running what he wants them to.
Why is he like that in the NFL, but he wasn't like that in college?
Because it's kind of like I'm not going to name drop who I was talking to, but I was talking to a former pro down in Miami, linebacker at a rival. And why
don't you just name drop?
No. Anyways, he was talking about Nick Saban. And I was kind of defending Nick Saban and saying he was nowhere near as bad in Miami as people say. And that's true. And he said that's true. But he said we ran over Nick Saban. He's like, we wasn't listening to what he was saying. He tried to intimidate us like we were college students. And it's a big difference in college when I can literally, like, especially now in today's climate, when now next year and the year after that'd be different when the APR comes back and you need these guys to graduate or you'll lose scholarships. But if I could just go to you and say, hey, I'm replacing you next year, you need to go find somewhere to go. You can't say that in the NFL.
My prediction, by the way, is that never comes back.
You don't think they're going to make another rule?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So it's going to be, it's going to be even crazier.
Yeah, but that's for the next segment. I
think Urban can control 17 to 22-year-old boys a lot more than he can control grown men.
Well, I understand that. And don't misunderstand me. This is not a winning football team, even if they're operating at a high level. But it should be a football team that at least puts points on the board or sustains drives. That's my only point. Like, the team sucks. All right, it is what it is. But they shouldn't suck this badly. This is an epic level of suck.
I just think it's the way they train too. Like, when we let's go back to training camp and OTAs and the things that before I almost died and I made the jokes about I survived COVID to see this shit. Cause I still think about that. Like, I literally fought to come back to life to watch this shit, to watch my alma mater be very good. And
when you were fighting, you were only thinking about Florida State and the Jags?
No, it's like, no, I was thinking about my boys. But one of the first,
I fought my ass off.
One of the first memories I have is of a guy who hadn't played football in 2 years, walking off our top draft pick from the year before, like he was being escorted out of a damn club. Like, that just was not a good vibe. But besides
Talking
that,
about Caleb on
kind of,
Chase.
yeah, I think he's just. I don't know. Anyways, if you follow us enough, you know my thoughts. Who, by the way, I know what my hated clock is him and some other people. But when we go back and look, effort plays, doing like who competed the most, or what was the slogans like they were saying, like not 2% better. I think that's Mike.
No, but now
it was
you
something like that.
Now you mention it,
like
the dude on the loudspeaker in between each period seems really funny right now.
Yeah, like it's just like the only thing that I'll give Urban, this is how bad the Jags are. The only person who's improved is Taven Bryan.
Yeah.
Like if I don't care how much you hate Urban Meyer. Like if you're a Jag player and you're in Walmart and a kid can come up and he'll recognize Taven Bryan over you, you've regressed. Like Taven Bryan might be the best player on this team.
We should do that. We should do like a thing where we just go out and film how many Jacksonville people can recognize Taven Bryan from a picture. Like, do you know who this is? I'm gonna put the percentage at 10. Not 10%, 10 people. My bad.
So when I was running and ripping, when I was going out a lot more when I was here in Jacksonville, it was a sad sight. I took my sister when she graduated from law school. There was a club, I forgot the name, Pure, I think. We went to their Jacksonville Giants had VIP. For people who don't know who the Jacksonville Giants are, I don't even know what I think it's AB, like it's a fake basketball league. I'm sorry, you guys play real, but literally had
not a fake basketball league. It's
they play in high school arenas right now. Not arenas, excuse me. I apologize, high schools. You don't have arenas. They play in high school gyms. And not Duval County. They play in Yulee. Ain't nobody driving to Yulee to go
super
see.
proud their kids playing for the Giants.
Fair enough. Like, listen, man, hold on to this as you can if you want to. Some of them are older than me, still hooping. Like, I'm not knocking you. Like, you're better than most people. Like, good for you. But like, it's an advanced YMCA older men's league. And I'm talking as a guy who used to do stuff with them. I'm like, listen, that's what it is. The problem with America right now is we're not labeling things what they are. You are what you are in this world. You're either somebody or you're nobody. And right now, they're not somebody. So it only leaves them to be one other thing. And as long as you're right, your mom loves you, and then it's another saying. And if you're just always remember, Tupac, if don't nobody else care. Just let that go to you. But my point is that the people were recognizing the Jacksonville Giants over the damn Jaguar players.
Well,
the Jaguar players were in regular pop. We're in Gen Pop with all the other people like dancing, but they weren't getting no rope service. That's a damn shame in an NFL city. That should never happen.
To be fair, we were at a club and noticed that Jaguar players cannot hold their liquor.
That was when I knew it was bad. It was my
dude yakking off the corner of the VIP, literally off the stage.
I told you that guy wasn't going to be any good either.
And the most disgusting thing about it is, in beat, he yaks off the corner and then goes back and kisses his girl.
That's the level of savagery. The level of savagery in that should make him a better player. But he's not. He's no longer here. He's no longer in the league.
I mean, he's still alive. You're like, he's no longer here. He's no longer with us.
but anyway, I don't even know what the
I want to get to
purpose of that.
Well, I want to get to college for a second, but before we do that, ironically, I want to talk about the transfer portal. Perhaps you're a man looking to hit the transfer portal in the dating scene.
Facts.
Maybe you're looking to upgrade, something like that. But things aren't really working right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the confidence to walk into somewhere,
right?
Be like, I'm here, hands on the hips, right? Showing off. Helicopter. You need where they
then you go to Northeast Florida Executive Med Spa. One of the guys who are struggling in those departments. It's for guys who want to become more efficient. You want to you want to feel better. You want to look better. You want to do a lot of things. And they have stuff for women too. But what I'm suggesting to men, don't be selfish this holiday season. Give your old lady the gift of you. Get yourself better. If you're not, that blood flow's not working right, go over here, look at some of their HGH treatments, look at some of the other things they have. Get into get some testosterone, some hormone therapy. They have the hyperbaric chambers. They have a whole bunch of different things that can help you feel better and you achieve maximal performance in the bedroom, because you want to go out there and you want to have your you go in there, you're proving a point and that you're leaving a statement. Because the last thing you want her to do is go recruit, because the transfer portal is open.
Right.
If you're not performing correctly, she can go find other people too.
Winners win, losers lose.
Facts. But if she's walking a little different, she's going to be satisfied. So that helps you. Again, you don't have to, if you saw my flamethrower experiment, if you're up, you can still go. But if you're down, you can still go. If that makes sense.
No.
If you're up.
I got that part.
If you're up,
okay,
you can still go.
You can go where?
To Northeast Florida Executive Med Spa.
Oh, okay.
If you're down,
okay,
you can still go.
You need to
go. You need to go immediately, because the gasoline and the fire something's not connected properly. Raphael he knows more of the stuff than I would know. I don't know the medical stuff, but I know the connection, the fluids and juices aren't hitting right. So you need to go see somebody that can help you get those things right.
You're saying just start off the new year there.
Again, give the gift of you.
Give her more than that. Don't.
I'm just saying, if you go in there, don't tell her anything.
Listen, don't tell her anything. Out there on Christmas Eve and you're standing there butt ass.
Don't tell her
with a ribbon around you.
Just go to the doctor. Say I'm going to get my life right. Go to the doctor. Don't tell her anything. Just go in there and you give her you when you was 18.
All right,
and leave a dent.
Wow. All right.
Transfer portal.
Transfer portal is wild, man. And it's just going to get worse these next couple of weeks. So you got this first round of bowl games about to happen. And there's guys that are going to play in these bowl games because they're the early bowl games. And then they're going to hit the portal. So it's like this. You've got till basically January 10th, somewhere right around there, to enroll in a school.
Right.
Okay, so let's educate and think about this for a second. So if I want to hit the transfer portal and I'm any good at all, I'm going to have choices.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit the portal, my phone starts to ring, which I'm not sure if it can ring after Wednesday because it's dead period. But it can ring to other people and they can let you know they're interested. Okay, so what you're seeing now is you're seeing all these people hit the portal because they've still got an opportunity to go visit these places before dead period, knowing that they've got to be in a class when school starts to be in spring football.
Right.
Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got these bowl games with a bunch of guys who maybe were looking at this and going, well, if I hit the portal now, I can't play in my bowl game. If I can play my bowl game since I'm early December or mid-December, and then that still gives me 2 weeks for I'm gonna call them street agents, but whatever, to get information and then get in somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be more guys hit the transfer portal. The issue that I've brought up here multiple times is not getting better, it's getting worse, is that 2022s are not being recruited at all. You've got your 4- and 5-star guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got your, the 3-star guys that were only being committed by Louisiana that now Florida's recruiting.
I like it.
Yeah. Great plan. Anyway, but outside of that, nobody's getting any looks.
Right.
So moving forward, you're going to have it happen like this year because the free COVID year. You're going to have it happen like this next year because the free COVID year. But at some point, this is going to catch up. At some point, that's going to run dry because the guys that, especially at the quarterback position, the guys that could have gone somewhere and been Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, or even a starter at a Power 5 level are never going to get that chance because they're going to be going to school like a normal person. Like, how does this end? What's the next 2 years look like in college football? That's why I'm saying APR is gone.
Well, what has to happen is everybody's got to stop looking at this from the old perspective. When I first moved to Jacksonville, it was one of the things I really liked is that kids here were just open to playing college ball at the next level, period. Like, I had never heard of some like LaGrange College. I had never heard of Lenore Ryan. I had never heard of some of these schools because in Tallahassee, well, I didn't have to learn about these people. I guess that's the other part of it. Like, you were either good or you weren't. And it was a smaller community, things like that. But like now, with the advent of the playoff, college football being on TV 24/7, it's D1 or bust, or whatever, FBS or bust. Well, now you gotta, and then what's the bigger problem is, I remember, training a kid like Derrick Henry. A kid would be a teammate of Derrick Henry's and be like, well, Derrick's getting recruited to Alabama. My son's on the same team. He's just as good. No, your son's not just as good as Derrick Henry. Derrick's a mutant. Now, what people have to do is come up with, when I tell kids that are marginal, they need to develop, and maybe they were D1 10 years ago, lower level D1, maybe somebody will reach on them 10 years ago. You need to have your 5 reach schools. You need to have 5 schools that you can go in, and then you know everything in the middle.
You talking about the old way?
Like, you need to know, but like you can. So right now, so even D2 schools are waiting.
Yes,
FAMU waiting.
I'm not gonna say his name because
right. Okay,
you know him. I got a text from an FCS school about a kid with SEC talent. Okay, checks all the boxes. Normally, I would not even return that text. It's so bad and so dry that I dropped everything, got transcripts, huddle film, everything.
But that's what
and
I'm saying.
Damn near begged for an offer from an FCS school.
That sucks for him. But like, it maybe he's one of the ones that are gonna get that'll fall through the cracks. But there's a lot more wide receivers. There's a lot more like these, like the cream of the crop will still go. Georgia's got 26.
Well, it stops somewhere, James. Because if this kid bumps down,
but this is what I think is gonna happen. Georgia's got 26 high school kids committed right now, and they don't need to. So that means, like, right now, Mike, you need to go up there. You and Johnson need to go up there and figure out whatever they don't want. Like, come on back here. We good. Like that, he might have got you that verbal agreement for another year. But like the guys, we saw with Oregon a couple years ago, they had an FCS quarterback, I think from Eastern Illinois, that ended up transferring to Oregon for his senior year. These guys, like the new JUCO is D2 and FCS. It's just a different way of looking at it. And it sucks because you have to go through it. But for the next decade, because of what happened, that's just the reality of the situation. If you're good enough, or now people are going to have to be more creative with the NILs and with the way that they're moving kids out. Like it basically is a blue shirt. You go and become that preferred walk-on if you feel like you're that good. And they can't only sign so many, but you still have the right to have 85 guys on scholarship. So if you go out and you put that work in for a year, you probably will get put on papers after a year. It just won't be all the pomp and circumstance that you're used to. And I feel bad, but that's just the way it is.
But
this is
fast
business.
Forward 5 years from now, what I'm saying is, if you take the kid I'm talking about, he gets bumped down to FCS. That bumps somebody down that should be FCS to D2.
Right.
After D2, you ain't getting a scholarship.
Right,
D2, you're getting a little bit of one.
D3, but again, I think
so. Now, kids that were playing D2 are at the JUCO going to school as a normal person.
Right, the NAI. This is a great opportunity. NAIA ball is the Wild West.
Yeah, who's got that money?
What I'm saying is NAIA don't have the rules that NCAA has. I'd be over here trying to be creative. I say that it's easier said than done in this seat, but it's unfortunate. I'm going to admit that it is very unfortunate. But it kind of is what it is. But you are going to need prep athletes. Like, you can't. I think it's going to go from where guys were normally getting 25 to where they're getting about 6. They're going to probably have 16. That the normal
Texas
school.
State?
They're only going, but and they're just awful. Like when you're asked,
the
best thing you can do is go get all.
But that's 25
treads.
That aren't getting signed. That's 25 kids. They're not signing any high school kids. They're going all transfer.
That might actually be like better for the kid. Like, because do you want to go somewhere and be defeated? I don't know what Texas State record is.
I mean,
so,
I don't think they're defeated. They were in a bowl game 2 years ago. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying it's an issue. And I think it's another one of those things that rubs me the wrong way, because for the longest time, we've heard college coaches walk into high schools and tell high school coaches, man, y'all are the lifeblood of our program. We're going to recruit you guys. And they haven't recruited high schools in years. They've been recruiting the 707 circuit. They've been recruiting the Nike opening camps and Under Armour camps. That's where they're getting their film. And now all of a sudden, another example of college coaches who just lie, who just are now like all of a sudden it's like, nope, I'm up to high school.
That's just a thing that college coaches lie. Even your favorite ones.
I'm waiting for the day when a high school coach, when I happen to be in a high school and I hear a high school coach talking about, I'm going to be a father figure and we only, we love high school kids or high school. I'm waiting for that day. I may lose my shit on them.
I just think at the end of that's something that just needs to stop.
Well, it's not because parents like to hear it.
That's the wild part. Don't come in my if I think they will be, at least one of them. I don't know what the 3-year-old is going to be yet.
Your favorite?
Yeah, I don't know what my favorite is going to be, but I know what the one with my name is going to be right now. If you walk through my house and you tell me you're going to be my son's father figure, I'm going to tell you to get the hell out of my house. I work damn hard to be here to be a good dad. I don't need you to be that. I need you to tell me you're going to get my son paid. That's what I need to know. You're going to get him maybe a degree. A degree would be nice. But I need to know, how are you going to get my son to the next level? Because if it was about academics, he'll be at service or at Harvard. It's not a degree. He ain't getting a real Florida degree. He ain't getting a real FSU degree. He's probably going to do what his dad did and go get a history major where the only thing I could use that for is Jeopardy and teaching. There's nothing else in life. So, that parents, if you're still falling for this, let's on the coach. It's a business. It's a business. You
yes, there's a lot of parents frustrated right now, as they should be.
Right.
They've done everything right. They've spent all this money. They've taken their kids all over the country to the camps that college coaches told them to come to. Their kids are good players, good grades, qualified, ready to early enroll. They've done everything.
Yeah.
And then out of right field, they just catch one to the chin. It sucks, man. And the NCAA, you would think at this point they would step in and they would go, okay, hold on. You know what? You guys can afford all the scholarships we'll give you. So we're going to give you 10 extra, but they can only be used for high school.
You think they should go back to the old days?
You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do it where you can hoard kids. That can't happen because it would literally be Alabama, Georgia, and everybody else. They'd sign 100-person classes and just keep everybody. But you could, this is a simple fix. You could go to the colleges, all the power, probably a lot of the group of 5, and go, okay, you can take your transfers, but you can take an additional 10 to 12 high school kids.
Just maximize transfers. You can only have, no matter how many kids you push out, you can only sign 5 to 6 transfers.
That's true.
And then that will help with the high school.
Or even take it and go, okay, if you lose 5 transfers, we'll give you those 5 scholarships back, but you got to use them on high school recruiting.
Fair. I think,
but you said
you don't think it's going to happen. The only way they can really balance it out is to bring the APR back, because you can't push people out when the APR. You need guys to actually
tell people what the APR
4 years. It's the annual percentage. Bottom line is you got to graduate. You got to graduate. You can't just bring people in. It actually faults you kind of for being too good. So if you get a bunch of 3-year and out guys, you are accountable. Those guys have to graduate within a certain amount of time. I think they give them 6. I think you get 6 years to get a 4-year diploma. And but the minute they step on campus is when it counts. So if you bring in this freshman that was just kind of marginal, that you wanted to see if they were going to develop, and you push them out in 2 classes, you're still responsible for that guy graduating. So that puts more onus on you. So you have more invested in that.
If you fall below this rate, you lose scholarships, you lose visits, you lose recruiting days. And it rarely happens anybody falls below it, but it happens frequently that they're right on it. And so they can't, or used to. Right. Hasn't the last 3 years. Because
they got rid of it for the last 2 years.
But it used to be that you couldn't push guys out, because if you did, you would lose scholarships.
Right.
It's kind of what happened in Tallahassee, in a big way, actually, when Willie was there. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. There's guys that's supposed to be smarter than me that's thinking of this. I'm just telling you, this ain't it. Like the transfer portal, I'm okay with the free transfer. I'm good with that. I think it's weird that Max Johnson leaves before a bowl game. I think that's weird. And I think it's alarming. I think if I'm a college coach, I am looking at that going, dude, like you were going to start the bowl game and you just bounce. I don't know what Emory Jones is going to do. I have no idea. My gut is that he announces he's going in the portal shortly after the game.
Well, right now, you got to beg him to stay because you saw like the pictures are out now. So that you got Anthony Richardson with a brace on his knee. You only got one quarterback.
Yeah, you got more than that. You got Kitna. You got Del Rio. I'm sure they're going to sign
They
one.
can't lose the UCF, man. They can't. They can't use them.
Why?
I don't want to hear UCF's. I'm not even actually. Everything in me wants Florida to lose the UCF, but I don't. I have to figure out what I want. UCF to beat Florida, be able to kind of have some trolling, or to hear UCF talk about how they should really be in the Big Three or they're big boys now. And I don't want to hear that.
Well, listen. I mean, obviously,
I
want Florida
to do what
to
they
win,
need to do.
but I'm gonna be completely honest with you and tell you that if I didn't have a 10-year-old that wants to dial in that game, I wouldn't watch it. I don't care. There is such a little bitty bit of difference between this bowl game that Florida's in and y'all not going to a bowl game. No, there's some of them still there.
Your favorite coach?
Yeah, he's still there. He's calling plays. I mean, that's my point. Like, I don't care if they win this game. And it in some ways, like if UCF were to beat them, it would just make people make fun of UCF fans even more because they would brag about it.
And they'll hang a banner.
Oh, they absolutely will hang a banner. Good for
State
them.
champs.
They
We beat Miami. Y'all beat us, so that technically means you beat Miami.
They beat
you. So
the way UCF works, they could technically, and actually Graham brought this up to me the other day, they could technically, if they beat Florida worse than Alabama, they could claim a natty. The way UCF works.
If Bama's got to win it.
Are they going to win it? Let's get to that. Hold on. Let's Green Acres real quick. We'll get to Green Acres, and then I want to talk about the playoff for a second. And then you got to hit a clock?
Yes.
Okay, great. Green Acres, get to greenacresporting.com for all of your hunting and fishing needs. You said they don't sell what you were shooting the other day?
I don't think they sell flamethrowers, but I'm pretty sure Z can get you a flamethrower. Okay. If you want one, he can get you one.
Go in there and ask Z to broker a flamethrower for you, I guess.
We got some holiday specials. They got the they still got the Taurus. They got Pump Shotty for $179. That thing. I actually like that. I like that one better than the other one I shot. The $300 Pump Shotty. It was great. It was good. Like when you hear that click, it just like something bad about to happen. Something about to get blown through a wall. It's amazing. But they got all that good stuff. They actually have bullets. They got bullets too. Nobody else has those apparently.
So I mean, really, we say this all the time, but if you're having a hard time buying for your husband,
go get him at Green Acres.
Green Acres, Executive Health. Bring him up here to Goodfellas. Hit ABC. We got you covered. Order some cigars from the humidor. That's a Christmas right there. What's your 8 o'clock?
All right. So we were talking about the clavicle Chason.
Caleb Chason.
Whatever. The defensive end from the Jags that played at LSU. Sack guru with no sacks. There's a lot of guys. He retweeted something that was tweeted out about 2 years ago. And it's a common theme with athletes, and it's some truth to it. Athletes are put on this pedestal. They're judged very harshly based upon their performance.
Okay.
And the average person couldn't do it. And their thought was like, imagine if I went to your job.
Oh, I hate this.
And I booed you while you were, doing whatever, while you were washing dishes. And I'm like, yo, like elite guys get to say that. Guys who make plays, like you get to say that. Clavion, if you walk to Publix and you were booing a cashier or a bag boy, they'll give you an application. Because the reality is, in a couple of years, you're gonna be right where they at.
Well, that and their Twitter handle isn't bag boy. Yours is sack guru.
Right. Like you are in a position where you're just a lot of times you're just not any good, and it's okay. It happens. Like we all like.
I'm sure there's a Twitter guy named Bag Boy though. Look that up. I want to see Bag Boy on Twitter.
But you know what? What if he is like his name is Bag Boy and he's the world's greatest bag boy? Like he deserves that.
I'm
he
guessing
earns
the
it.
Bag Boy on
Sack
Twitter is
Guru,
not really a Bag Boy.
Sack Guru means you get sacks and you don't get sacks. You have one more sack this season than me, and you play a lot more than I.
He only has one sack.
I think so. Maybe okay. I'll give him 2. Maybe I don't know, but I know he don't have a lot. And it's not. Tom Brady's never the guy, which I guess he doesn't have to because he's really good. It's not even the margin, like the average, the slightly above average guys that tweet this. It's the bench. It's the guys who aren't doing anything. It's the bench warmers. I even think a kid who isn't even at my alma mater retweeted that, who had one game where he got like 65 yards in a bowl game. And he only played because everybody was hurt. Like you don't get to tweet that. Like you just enjoy the fact that you're part of the 2% of the society that's actually done.
How many followers does Sack Guru have?
He's probably got he's at least 50K, right? Yeah, SEC guy.
No,
you don't think he has that?
Oh, well, we gotta look this up. That's his real handle, is Sack Guru.
Right. I just think like they can handle. I just give like handle.
Yeah, hit us with it. What do you got?
Handle adversity
on Twitter. It's S4CK, so Sack Guru. He has 35,000.2 followers.
Yeah. He's probably got more on IG though, right?
I'll go check right now.
I bet he's got more on IG.
Like
these young kids like the IG.
Yeah, it's pictures and stuff. Can't really read very well, so like you gotta show them the pictures and stuff. It's not their fault. It's the COVID year. Right. They haven't been taught.
You were right. He has 72,000 on Instagram.
He's got 72,000.
Yeah, almost 73.
He's an IG girl. Basically.
Tell me what.
Like, that's what you
hey, hold on. Leave the mic on for a second.
Okay.
Because I'm curious here. Tell me what a guy like Travis Etienne has. Who's yet to play an NFL game. I just want to see the power of Jacksonville.
171,000.
I think
followers.
I think that's the power of Clemson.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Who's a not an excellent. How many does Emory Jones have?
The Gators QB.
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah. Because if you're a professional athlete, your following should be higher. Correct?
No.
Emory Jones has 61,000.
No.
Does he really?
Yep. On Instagram.
What does Anthony Richardson have?
Oh, he's got to be up there. Nah, but like while he's looking that up, pro guys, no, like unless you're like, if maybe Philly, but like not a Jaguar player.
That's
like,
my point, though.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson only has 40,000.
Yeah, that's why I didn't think he had. But like Trevor has over 1 million.
Yeah.
I know Gardner. I don't know what he's got, but Gardner did this thing on 4th of July, a Bud Light commercial when he had on 6 Points gear for the commercial.
Right.
And dude, just that alone got us like 3,000 followers. Just him wearing the gear.
Shout out to 6 Points and shout out to you. That's pretty lit.
Oh yeah, I didn't even ask him to do it. Somebody screenshot it for me. It's dope.
This Bud's for you, and then he throws the ball, and it turns into a beer, and his dad catches it. Then they chest bump. Is that the commercial?
Dude, he's got the worst luck. Think about it. Like he gets a start, he tears it up, and then they got a bye week. Yeah, and now Jalen's going to come back.
Speaking of that, since we're there, and I talked about meeting Dave Caldwell yesterday, I think.
You act like y'all are best friends now.
Dude,
like
we talk like it.
You have dropped that like 10
we
times.
We should. But here's
like
my,
me and Dave Caldwell
here's
were
my
playing
beef.
lacrosse together.
Here's my beef with Dave. Is that I'm walking off the field with lacrosse practice at Bowles, and he just starts talking to me. He's like, "Hey, James, what's going on?" Like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, James, I scouted you coming out of college.
You're going to find a way to get the flex in on this, aren't you?
No, this isn't a flex. I'm mad as hell.
James, like, I don't know you?
I'm mad as hell. No, I was like, you scouted. He's like, oh, yeah, maybe I should introduce myself. I'm David Caldwell. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah.
He said David?
Yeah, he said David. He was very formal. He's like, yeah, I scouted you when I was in Indy then, and you were in New Orleans. And I'm like, well, shit, why didn't you pick me? Like, don't tell me you scouted me now. Like, my whole life could have been different.
That's true. That's
could
very
have changed the entire trajectory of my life.
He should have left that to himself.
Like, I didn't need to know you scouted me.
So, in other words, he scouted you.
And then he basically, I know he thought I was trash. He basically said, James, yeah, I seen you out of college, dude. So you weren't as good as you talk.
You know what? Now that you said that.
Are you doubling down on your Caldwell take from the last episode?
I can't really anymore. I like his son. His son is actually pretty cool. So, like, I don't know if I trust him with a lacrosse stick yet. I haven't seen him play, but like he's actually cool. Like,
you know, now that you put it that way, I think Dave Caldwell just like
he flexed on me.
He did. He literally told you he scouted you, but didn't pick
but
you.
did not pick me. They weren't even in the conversation.
That is a much.
They didn't pick up the phone and call me on the second day of the draft, or excuse me, the end of because it was only 2 days then, if I remember correctly. They called like at the end of the first day, you get all the phone calls saying, "Hey, we make sure where you're going to be at for the second day. We want to make sure."
How
you're
old is
in
Dave
place."
Caldwell?
50s, mid-50s.
I thought he was younger.
Are you looking it up, Danny, or you want me to?
I don't care that bad.
I don't know. But,
Yeah, I don't care that much about it.
but I just thought that was a little. The more I chew on that, the more angry I get. Like no, you could.
Yeah,
like,
I see what you're saying now.
Like, bro, you could have like legitimate. Like I could have played for Peyton Manning.
Oh,
Like with Peyton Manning. Like
did
you
they
know how
have a
much different?
fullback?
I don't remember then. Like that was. I'm sure everybody. A lot more people had them then than they do now. Even though the ones now are really good. I like watching the ones now play.
The fullbacks?
Yeah, Baltimore's fullback's
Both of
pretty
them?
good. San Francisco's fullback's pretty good. Kansas City's fullback, even though they got a new one, like he's not bad. It's, the teams that win have them. If you want to win, get the ball to the damn fullback. Or you could be the Jaguars.
Well, they had a fullback that went to the Pro Bowl. They cut him.
And they cut him. And then that's when it all
Dude,
like,
you're
it
right.
all
That
went
was
downhill.
2017.
Right? See, Tommy Bahama. I think
You're
that's
right.
his name.
Bohannon.
Same thing.
But close enough. We are at Goodfellas over off St Johns Bluff Road. There's pictures on our social media. If you want to check this place out, you should come by, check it out.
Friday night, easy date night. They got a nice band that comes through here.
They should call it that.
Nice band.
No, easy date night.
No, easy date night. Oh, yeah. Like you come here, vibe. You can get dressed. You can dress up. You cannot dress up.
Dude,
It's
why is
really.
your arm around me?
I said easy date night.
Jeez.
Little bro love.
I keep scooting over. His arm keeps
it's
growing.
Like this. It's like
Little
when I
bro
put my
love,
arm
man.
here, I don't know what to do. It's like
You're
it's
Ricky
hard.
Bobbian.
It's like it's like then it gets
Get it.
fatigued.
Yeah.
And then
You
when I
got a
put
drink
it
right
here,
there.
it's just hanging.
What'd you say?
He's got a drink right there.
Yeah.
Like, the arm
Yeah.
starts to go back.
Yeah.
I'm on a. I'm trying. Golly, I sound like an alcoholic when I say this.
You drink a lot. You've been drinking a lot.
I have. I'm trying to go a week here. Like, I'm trying. I don't know what happened all of a sudden. It's like all of a sudden I can't walk by the whiskey bottle.
I haven't like when I don't feel good, and somebody maybe can explain this to me, but like my stomach will be bothering me. And then I drink, and then my stomach doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah, it's called addiction.
Oh. All right.
James, like all of a sudden I start shaking. But
I
then
can-
when I smoke crack, I'm all right.
I can see clearer. I can like everything works better when I drink.
Anybody want to hop on the mic? It's y'all's chance. Y'all
Like,
can
we
hop
got
on.
free questions. Tommy was talking a lot. You got. I know you want Tommy Mill
We got
questions.
statements, questions, like whatever y'all want. We got a live mic right there. Like,
If you want him to hear it, he
let's
says
go
it.
right here. Come on.
I'm not gonna bring it to you.
We're gonna throw it at him.
It's not a bartender. It's a mic.
Yeah, whatever.
By the way, we have Steph Curry's little brother. He's got a yellow shirt on.
It's big time too, because
Like-
Steph's about to break a record tonight.
And-
you see what those tickets were going for? Yeah, put it.
Steph is going.
No. He's passing Ray Allen for the 3-pointers.
No, he's saying. I think he.
okay. Get up closer.
I
to
think
the mic.
he's I think he's been drinking a lot.
Oh, okay.
Like Steph is nice. I will be. He made a deal with the devil. That's the only reason he can shoot the way he shoots. But he would never be He would never be considered the second greatest.
Take it in on you as well.
What'd you say?
Yeah, he can bring it to the.
I agree. I mean, I'm not
Steph
saying
is
he's the
good.
second
Steph
best.
is good.
Steph
good.
is
Steph
highly
good.
underrated. Highly underrated.
What's your question, man? What you got? What you got for us?
Y'all were talking about Trevor Lawrence earlier about Jacksonville. I understand y'all don't have a lot of talent there, but think about Joe Burrow with Cincinnati last year.
Before you got hurt,
Yeah, exactly. They were still trash. Like they
were they though?
Joe Burrow was not looking great.
Were they trash? I think
was
if you go back
first-
and you look at the stats, though, if you go back and look at the points they put up, so that's, somebody look that up here. What was that? 2020? I think they were putting up points though.
they weren't winning. That's what you want to do, right? Is win.
Wouldn't you feel better as a Jags fan if they were losing and you're franchise quarterback is here, wouldn't you feel better if they were losing 41-38? You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
So before Joe Burrow got hurt,
Because that was like what, week 6?
he had 2,688 yards.
It had to be later in week 6 then.
He had 13 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. What's Trevor got now? Is
Trevor has
9
10.
touchdowns and like 14 picks.
Yeah.
I think I looked this morning.
I'm not even looking at that part. Oh, Trevor's got 2,735 yards with a quarterback rating of 68.9. Burrows was like 80 point something. So like you knew. So here's what I think Jags fans would be okay with. And I can't speak for all Jags fans, but I can speak for me who likes to watch competent products. NFL, you know you're going to lose some games. And you drafted first overall for a reason. So, like, you know, just this one piece isn't going to matter. Unless you're Indy with Andrew Luck, which we know they tanked for Luck, you're not going to jump in to be a playoff contender. But you want a competent product. When you watch Joe Burrow, it was exciting. They were in shootouts at times. Like, you knew that, okay, if he gets another wide receiver, if he gets, they do something on defense, they might win some games. It doesn't feel like it's that far away. You drafted Trevor Lawrence with all those expectations, and it seems like you took 10 steps backwards just to get him. So I think that's the big difference between Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence is when I watched this offense, I watched them. We watched them win. One of their wins was 9-6. Like, that's a baseball game, not an NFL game. So, like, that's the biggest problem. And then it's not just Trevor Lawrence. You brought Trevor Lawrence and you brought in Urban Meyer, who comes in with all of this winning. Now, albeit college, but you feel like he's going to come in and is going to help transform the team, and nothing's happened. It just
well, hold
worse.
on. So to his point, though, I'm trying to look up who were their receivers last year in Cincinnati. Because I remember Burrow.
T. Higgins.
Burrow was getting the crap kicked out of him, though.
Right.
Like, that O-line was awful. Would you rather have a decent offensive line and need the weapons, or would you rather have what Burrow had, which was the weapons but need the overhaul in the offensive line? Like, okay, let's put it this way. Let's say the Jags pick number 2. Are you going receiver or are you going O-line?
I'm going receiver.
What are you doing?
I'm going O-line because Trevor Lawrence sets back. He doesn't have any time.
So you getting rid of Cam? Because the only way you're going to go O-line is if you go left tackle, right? At number 2. Like that, you see what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to, at number 2, you're not going to take a guard. A right tackle, man, at number 2 right, that's what I'm saying. Like I think if you were picking 15, then you could say, okay, but like, I don't know. I haven't seen any mock drafts, but that cat from Alabama I saw 2 weeks ago, Jameson.
But you might have.
Here's the reason why. Like, what were we? So you got guys, which was one of my hated clocks when Pete Prisco. Like, I just love when old slow white men call young athletes. Not just me too.
I'm not as slow as I look, bro.
But you're also not Pete Prisco. Like, when like small, like they tell people like, oh my God, this team is slow. And like, Pete, like, I get what you're trying to say, but like you don't get to do that. But my point in that is, we know that they can't get any separation. So you can't even run a quick game. You can't even if you went and got an all world offensive lineman, you still can't get rid of the ball. But what they did when they went and got, was it Jefferson? Is that who they got?
Chase.
My bad. Chase, excuse me. They go and get another wide receiver to add to T. Higgins, to add to, I believe, Auden Tate's there, to add to some of the guys that they got. And now all of a sudden, he's got guys who are getting separation. He can get rid of that ball in 3 to 4 seconds. Like, it is hard to go and consistently rush the passer when he's getting rid of that ball in 3 seconds. And I think that's how you can truly help yourself a lot quicker. But line play is big on all levels. Like, if you don't have a good line, don't have a good D-line, have a good O-line, you're not going to win very many games.
Yeah, y'all give us something else. Someone else hop on the mic.
I do have a question for y'all.
If you got more, you can stay on there.
Listen, I got y'all. All right, so
all right, Bobby, give us some comedy, man.
So
now
you put me on a
crap.
different spot. I came to join the sports den, not the comedy den. No, I'm kidding.
He says he got to work after this, so he's not.
Oh,
He doesn't
okay.
work for
I'm
free.
hitting the open mic in a little bit, but I had to come see my guys and talk to y'all real bit. My question for you, like, why? I feel like the Jaguars are like the only team to where like I don't think that method would work for us because everybody that we draft is only a good player their first year, and then people get the tapes, and it's like we don't know what to do.
So what's the alternative?
Just
You're not going to draft?
Become level.
Like I forfeit this pick because everybody we draft we make suck.
I mean,
what's the alternative,
LA,
Bobby?
isn't that what LA doing?
I mean, well,
the
you
They
Rams.
know
keep
what?
getting rid of their.
To be
draft-
fair, yeah, that may, but our free agents don't exactly pan out either.
Nah,
We should be delegated,
I-
relegated. What
right,
is it?
That's what the soccer thing?
Relegated. Yes.
Now what
What
they
is the minor league? What is the Jacksonville Giants equivalent of football?
Oh, we have one. Was it in the indoor league?
The Sharks.
The Sharks.
Man,
Jacksonville
the Sharks would wax the Jags right now.
All right, man. All right.
I don't know a player. Well, no, I do know a player, but that's only because
Who'd they sign? They signed your boy,
Malik Yoba.
Henry.
Oh yeah,
What'd you call him?
my bad. I think Malik Yoba is an actor from like one of my shows growing up, New York Undercover. Yeah, that's exactly what Malik Yoba did. But he's not any good either.
So what's your
God, I just
suggestion,
thought
Bobby?
about
Who we
that.
drafting? I got a hot draft take. For you.
Honestly, I wouldn't. I would much rather. I would rather us stop picking like in the higher drafts, bro, because it seems like all the
So
players.
trade back.
Yeah, trade back.
Mm-mm.
I'm with you.
No, I want the defensive end.
From
Kayvon-
Michigan?
No.
From
I
Oregon
want Thibodeau
or
Thibodeau,
Oregon.
because I want him to be punished.
He's going first.
I want him to feel the wrath of spurning Florida State and going to Oregon. I think he should have to be punished for the next 4 to 5 years of his life and play for the Jaguars.
Bro, if you're doing that, then half the draft spurn Florida State.
No,
went somewhere
no,
else.
just
Sam
him.
Howell.
I don't like Sam Howell's
Yeah.
getting his. Sam Howell being 500 is good enough for me. I want Kayvon to come and have to be coached.
I like
by
that
Urban Meyer.
because Micah Parsons is going crazy. If Kayvon can come in for the Jaguars and do what Micah Parsons is
that's
doing,
not
oh my
That's
God.
not happening.
We don't
Listen, all
know.
right, here's
We
my
don't
hot
know.
draft tape, by the way, quarterback draft tape. All the love about Kenny Pickett, like everybody's saying he's gonna be the first quarterback taken. Here's my hot take: he won't be in the first round. Not will he not be the first quarterback taken. He won't get drafted in the first
Kenny
round.
Pickett sounds like he should have a mullet. Like, isn't that the name of the guy from Eastbound and Down? That old show?
That was Kenny Powers.
Close. But I'm just feel like he'll be a good folk legend here. Like West Side, get a house on the west side of Jacksonville. Be that net, but again, we can't have him as a quarterback. I guess
I'm
we're
just
not
saying,
Trevor.
like
we can't give up on
when he
Trevor.
goes through the process.
They're gonna pick him apart.
Yeah,
He lost to Miami. I can't respect anybody who lost to Miami anymore.
yeah,
We beat Miami.
that's how you're doing it now. Anybody else got anything? Hop on, so we can hear.
Because then they're gonna think like, so right now when you talk on the live, they'll be able to hear you and they can't see you. But when you're that far back, they can't hear you. So they think we're talking to ourselves.
All right, so with me being from Miami, I'm new to Jacksonville, but like in sports, when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, what would fix them to make them a respectable team? Because with them having, it kind of sucks. It's a blessing and a curse having the number 2 pick, because it's like you have a lot of holes to fix, and the number 2 pick won't necessarily fix it.
Here's the problem, though, because you're right. But see, that was the conversation last year. What can we do in Jacksonville for people to notice? Hire Urban Meyer, draft Trevor Lawrence. You know, and you're talking about a team who's had 8 picks in the top 2 rounds the last 2 years. Is that right?
Yeah.
2, 4, 6. Yeah. And they still suck. They went and got a coach that, like him or not, everybody was like, oh, yeah. Everybody wants Urban Meyer. They still suck. They got the generational quarterback. They still can't score. Like, I don't want to. They're 500 in London.
You want us to move to London?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I mean, am I wrong? Through all of this dysfunction, they're 500 in London. How many games have they won here in Jacksonville the last couple years? We won 1 this year, right?
Right.
Or they win both games here? Just 1. They won 1 last year, right? So they're 1 and
A million.
call it 12 their last 2 years of home games. Like, I mean, it's
We're
I
gonna
don't know
win
what
Sunday.
the issue is. What? No, we're not going to win Sunday.
They're gonna come together and they're gonna beat
Zero
Texans.
chance. No chance.
because I'm there. Because
No
I'll
chance.
be there.
No chance. Absolutely
It's
no chance.
amazing. You can get amazing seats at a Jaguars game for very little, for cheaper than going to the movies.
Oh, did he set the record? Did he get it? Steph just got the record. You see what those tickets were going for tonight? Stupid amounts of money.
On the baseline? I mean on the
No, just to
wood?
be in the arena.
It's the Garden.
They said that it went up like 5 times since last Friday for
Man.
this game because only needed what 2?
Yeah.
If
2 3-pointers.
Yeah.
If only we knew somebody that could have got us there instead of being here. If only.
I didn't even think about
That'd
that.
have been so amazing to go to a professional basketball game when you
I'm just kidding about the London thing, by the way, Jacksonville. Just y'all don't hate on me.
I wanted to be able to be like Jay-Z and just that'd have been my post.
He said he has another
After
for you
All
world.
right,
guys.
let's hear it.
The future of Urban Meyer.
The future?
The future. Do you all see?
You see that blonde?
It's because there's a lot of politics when it comes. Like, do you all honestly see him returning next year?
Yes. I think he returns.
I think Shaw gives him a chance for this year. Like he's got to do something. Like they got to at least win one more. Like if they go defeated and it keeps looking like this, I think, you know, as stubborn as Shaw is, as cheap as he is, I won't say cheap, as shrewd as he is, I think his hands would be tied more than anything else. I think he'll have to make a move more so for the sake of
You're saying that if they don't win another game.
like if they don't win another
So
game.
if they win one more, you think he comes back?
I think so. And I think it just depends on how to like you can't like we can't have losses 20-0 that feel like we got beat by 50 points.
Does everybody wants him gone though, right? Like fan wise.
Fans and
Everybody wants him gone.
like one thing I said that this like when people use terms like locker room is in shambles, right? Or things like that. And I've heard that before with my alma mater. And then now people kind of when things kind of take turn, people use that as trolling. And that lets me know that, you know, the people who are trolling have never been in the locker room before, never really had like I'm not trying to pick on people, but like have never had situations where you have to perform at a very high level. If you're if you're in sales and you have quotas and you're not meeting your quota, it shouldn't be smiles and Hallmark cards. It shouldn't be peachy. Yeah. You're competing. You should be mad. It should be tension. That's how you get better. But what happens is you have to get some wins to push past that. In a losing locker room, it should be in shambles. The last thing I want to hear in a losing locker room is everybody's all smiles and Hallmark cards.
Last thing I want to hear is nothing. I want to hear crap like we
right.
didn't hear this with Doug Marrone.
Right. So like I should hear that guys are mad about losing. Now, what I should see is on the field, it should look like you're mad at losing.
Right.
And right now, and that lets me know it's even worse because
you know the last
it's
person,
apathy for everybody.
You know the last person who got really, really vocal and mad about losing in Jacksonville was Jalen.
And they ran him out, and people still talk about him to this day.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I would suggest that some of this talk, is actually because of how competitive Urban is. Now the way he's handling is wrong. We talked about that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But
one of the things that everybody talked about was how would Urban respond when he loses, because he's never lost. Like no matter what happened this year, he might have had more losses in one season, even if they were doing good, than he's had in a decade.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you. What if Trevor wants him gone?
Then he's gone.
You think it's that easy?
You can't because you can't get rid of Trevor. Like it's cheaper now to get because of the
No. I got
ceilings.
that. But do you think Trevor holds that much weight now?
If Trevor comes and says, I feel like he's impeding my growth, it's Urban's fault. Like, you know, obviously I don't think he would be that guy. But if he says something to the likes of that, they're gonna go find somebody that they feel meets his skill set. Something that I pray that he doesn't do that, and I pray they don't give him that much power because he's liable to. He's liable to bring Dabo.
He's not bringing Dabo in.
Like that, I think that'd be even worse because we're seeing what happens when when you strip some of these, like it ain't going like Saban. This is what lets us know, and I know it's on college, but this is what makes Saban as good as he is. Saban's so damn good that not even that he won a national championship with a bunch of coaches that were rejects everywhere else that had just got fired, brought him on the staff. He has to challenge himself to be involved. Like you strip Dabo of his top coordinators, and it implodes.
We're about to find out.
Like people are trying to get out of there, like the Titanic sinking.
Yeah, we're about to find
from
out.
players. You got Urban without his like the offensive, because again, he had Tom Herman, who was considered an offensive genius. He had Dan Mullen, who was considered an offensive genius. He had
Ryan Day.
Ryan Day is considered an offensive genius. Without that offensive genius, which I'm not taking away from Urban, because somebody has to hire these people. But without that person, he's really average right now. Actually, he's below average.
Way below average.
So those are the things that
So
you kind of
think-
find what your
yeah,
work
I think
is.
he stays. I think he gets one more, and I think he's here next year. That's my personal opinion. Anything else?
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm gonna flip it to college. Do you all see, like, in the next 2 years, the college football playoff expansion?
Yeah, we're different on this. I want it.
Most definitely.
He doesn't. I want more meaningful games in the playoffs. I don't care about the regular season. Like like my team's in the SEC. The SEC is always going to mean a ton. Those games are always going to mean a ton. It doesn't matter what happens, right? The pageantry is going to be there. It's going to be sold out. The game's going to be what it is. I want it at the end. I want to have 8 teams, 12 teams, whatever I can have.
If that,
and I think it will happen.
I'm not opposed to it anymore. When I saw it, it took the format now where the traditional bowl games, and they kind of put it in a round robin tournament. But the only way that works, and people look to FCS, but FCS also plays 3 less games than what FBS plays. So you're getting it was designed that way for the regular season to be the tournament, basically. And then at the end of the season, you get your championship games, and then you get your consolation games. Now, granted, too many bowl games. That's why people are upset about that.
Too many bowl games, not enough good conferences.
Right. Now, if you are, what's going to happen is you'll take that, you'll move it around, and then now people will pay attention more to conferences, which I think is lacking. Conference pride used to be, like when I played, you wanted to win the national championship. You wanted to compete for it, but winning your conference actually meant something. Like now it's kind of like Alabama is proof that winning your conference means absolutely nothing, because Alabama's going to get to the playoffs whether they win their conference or not. But having that bragging right, having that, but we won't see the matchups that are going to be, well, that on paper from traditionally look exciting, look sexy. You're not going to see the FSU Alabamas, the FSU Georgias. Because why play them now when you just do what you need to do and you'll play them in the postseason?
So you'll basically eliminate the 3 non-conference games.
That's what I think.
I think that's
because
funny.
you have
That's
to.
interesting, because I think the opposite. I think if more people get in, you're more likely to play those games. I think with the expansion, you see more of those big games, less of the cupcakes.
Well, you'll get rid of the cupcake, but it's legit. The only way you can make this happen from a time perspective is to follow the FCS model. And the only way the FCS model works, because you're literally adding, like, to do that, to do a 12 game, once you have to play 3, you have to, because right now you got to play to win the championship, you got to play 2 games. If you're adding more, you have to add 3 to 4 more games. If you add more teams, the FCS model works because they play 10 games. Right now, you're playing, was it 12 to 13 games in a regular season with the FBS?
Right. So
you're literally you're lopping off the cupcake and the opportunity to play the big time matchup, the interconference. I think the out of conference matchup.
See, the comparison to me, because it's not even the NFL, because they talk about NFL teams playing 16 games. NFL teams dress 47 or 45. You dress 85. Like the teams they're so much bigger than the FCS teams. Like there's a lot more players. If they got to play 15, 16 games, then so be it. I don't want them to use the bowls. at all. I want them.
No, you
I
could
want the
use their
first
home-
round ones to be
use them.
the higher seed gets the home game.
Right. I just think it's not even about. I'm not even looking at just like how many, because if you keep the format the way it is now, they're playing it like then you'll, which I think it's already BS. And the NIL is kind of moving towards that, but the NIL is marketing. The school isn't paying a dime. Like the NFL works because there's no spring ball. There's a couple weeks of OTAs, and they literally do have they may train to keep their bodies in shape, but they literally do have a break before the season comes. College, it's like when I think back to what I had to do on top of classes, I may have had a month off, but not a month continuous.
Okay,
off.
let me just play. I don't disagree, but let me play devil's advocate with you for a second. You're only talking about 2 teams that have to play 16 games or whatever. There's just 2 of them that are going to go all the way through and play the maximum number of games. The trade-off, they should make those people take more time off because the trade-off is they got an extra 3 weeks of practice.
Right, but they're not like to get to beat Alabama. Like right now, you don't get to take that time off.
No, I'm talking about after.
No, I'm saying like the reason Bama's like Saban.
But my point, James, is like we're talking about this as a whole when it's really only 2 games. It's only 2 teams.
Right, but
you're right.
This
wasn't going to affect Florida State.
Statistically speaking,
right now.
But Florida's fired their coach. Why? They fired their coach because they want to be in the playoffs. They want to be with Alabama. You can't just even if it's not going to happen, you can't just pretend. And then because if it's not about that, then there was no damn mother was going to get you 10 wins. But you want to win that championship. You want to be like Bama.
I understand that.
You're hiring.
I'm just using them as an example of it wouldn't affect.
But what I'm saying is it wouldn't affect them now. But the goal is to be that. You can't just wake up one day and be excellent.
Well, I mean,
excellent is
it can be your goal, but I mean that doesn't mean you're doing it. I'm just saying there's 2 teams that will play that many games. There's 4 teams that will play 1 more game than the maximum now.
That's the
other 124 teams that don't affect.
Then you're without doing it on purpose and even understanding what you're doing, you're making a case for not expanding it.
How?
Because only 2 teams matter.
No.
Consistently, only 2 teams are going to get in that. Only 4 teams may have a chance.
Well, that's what it is now.
But what I'm saying, so nothing changes. There's no need to have a 12. The only thing you may do is add an extra game to Cincinnati.
No, you expand the
But at the end
pool
of
guys who can be those.
When
2
you
teams.
Expand that pool,
that's all you're doing. I'm not saying
when you expand that pool, you just said only 2 teams are going to consistently get there.
No, I didn't. I said only 2 teams will play.
So then everybody who wants to do that needs to train. Basically, you have a quarterback. You have a quarterback system, a quarterback training system. Whether they are going to make it to FBS or be that top guy, everybody trains similar to that to what those guys go through. It. You have a periodization process. If you want to be one of those top teams and you expand that pool, you will do the exact same thing as the excellent guys do. And what I'm just saying is that it's putting they're going to trim the regular season down because of that.
Well, I'm okay with that. If they do that, I'm fine with that.
Which takes away the cupcake, which I'm cool with that. It takes away
you think
outer
they're going to trim
conference.
it 2 games?
I think they trim it 2 to 3 games. It'll be a 10 to 11 game season.
I think it'll be 11 game season.
But again, even when you do that, it's
11
still
games plus the championship.
The games that you'll play are your conference games, and you probably won't have the opportunity to play that game that kickoff classic that's kind of exciting, because if you do what you're supposed to do, you'll see a better matchup at that first round. You'll see a Florida
we're miles apart on this, but that's okay.
But I'm not opposed. I just think they'll just trim the schedule down.
It's interesting though that we can think so differently about this, because I think it adds to the games. I don't think you play the cupcake. I think you do pick up the Clemsons. You do pick up those teams. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see it. I hope it happens though.
I have one more.
Go ahead.
All right. What do you all think about the potential of removing the early signing day?
Oh God, it needs to happen.
They need to, but they won't.
It would, removing that would answer so many issues right now. I mean, you still got early signing day is tomorrow. It's tomorrow, and there are multiple teams without coordinators right now.
Actually, I think even removing it,
think they should move
even
to like
rem-
August or something like before the season.
See, I think that's
No,
worse.
I think that's worse.
That's worse. Because
Good.
think about how many people got fired since August. Think about how many coaches got fired since August.
I think it doesn't. I think even if they change it, the way the college football was going, it doesn't matter. Earlier, I think we talked about this on the show. Early enrolling when I came out in 2002 was crazy. It was a crazy foreign concept to like not to skip your prom and do these things. Like people didn't even like guidance counselors didn't even know how to get people to graduate early. But like now, it's if you don't early enroll, you're behind. And that was happening before early signing period. When you think about when Florida State went on their run, DeMarcus Walker enrolled early. Jalen Ramsey, I believe, enrolled early. That next year, Dalvin Cook enrolled early. Matter of fact, he signed. He committed to Florida State at the Under Armour All-American game. That was on Saturday. Enrolled in Florida Thursday when people thought he was going to the University of Florida. So, like, even if you got rid of it, you would still have early enrollees, and they would just sign their grant and aid. So they would start school, and they would be encouraged. You were having 10 to 12 kids early enroll already. So, like, now, like nothing really changes except for, maybe some schools will have to do some more due diligence. I think, like what you were talking about, like there's a young man. A young man out of Westlake that I think is a damn good defensive end, Zion Young, who didn't play much his junior year. He had just switched to defensive end and lit it up this year. Everybody and their mama's recruiting him now. So, like, maybe that would help him, but he's going to still get a D1 scholarship anyway. I think the guys that they wanted early, they were going to force to do it anyway. So, I think the only way you can really change the game is something that Denny talked about earlier in the show, would be to give them really kind of, you can only sign so many transfers and give them more incentive to sign high school kids. But the problem is the NC every day, like, and this is the other reason why I think the playoff might become more relevant soon, because every day is another day that the NCAA becomes less and less relevant. And the NCAA has put themselves in that corner by kind of just taking their hands off when COVID happened. But even before that, when the big dogs, the Power 5 schools, were saying, we want to pay, we want to do something, taking their hands off and saying, do whatever you want to do. I think you're going to see a situation where they're not going to listen to the NCAA. They're going to just do whatever the hell it is they want to. So you kind of have to. That's a long answer, homie. People say capitalism works itself out. It's kind of what you have to kind of pray that these Power 5 schools do what's best. You just rewrote the whole book on it. Sorry. I like it. No, I like it.
Can you see the Power 5 saying, you know what, NCAA, we're going to do our own
it'll
thing.
happen.
It's going to happen.
That's going to happen.
It's going to happen. When you look at what Texas is doing with the NLI, Florida State with the Spear, Rise of Spear campaign, Florida with the Gator Collective, Georgia, they're just dropping traditional bags. Everybody, Clemson with the church. Actually, all jokes aside, Oklahoma's got the church now because one of their players, like literally their dad, I think it's from Texas, but is moving to open up a church in Oklahoma. I think I got the right school, but the point is Texas A&M with what they're doing, Miami stealing money from hospitals, LSU stealing money from hospitals. Like, they're going to pay athletes. NCAA is going to either lose the opportunity to have their bell cow with the playoff, or they're going to fall in line. So I can't tell you how it's going to look 100%. But again, I think we're seeing the end of the NCAA because amateurism is a farce anyway.
I just noticed Tom Brady's assistant quarterback's in the house over there. He's not even paying attention over there. He's half asleep. All right, we got to get.
Yep. So
we got to get. Goodfellas, make sure you get here. What was the promotion? You said Martini Mondays?
Oh, Martini Mondays, big, like nice event. Always here. You got to get here early. Don't know what the cover is. Just know a lot of people are coming here. That it's a dope time. Friday nights, they have a jazz band. Saturday night, live. Friday, Saturday, live music. And then all kinds of other different things. Follow Goodfellas Cigar Lounge on Facebook. The website escapes me, but if you go on Facebook, we added it. So just follow it.
Yep. share this. Tell your friends as well. All right, we'll be back. What next week? Right?
You're gonna be gone Friday. You'll be traveling.
I don't
back
know.
Friday?
We may be back Friday. We'll see. That's our organization. We'll talk to you then.